Happy Monday. Thank you for joining me for this week's Weekly Wisdom. This week we are on week 5 of a 5-week installment, Leadership Lessons Learned from My Parents. So again, we are still holding the competition. We are looking for the 100th YouTube subscriber, and that YouTube subscriber is going to get the autographed copy of Creating Magic, 10 Common Sense Leadership Lesson Strategies from a Life at Disney by Lee Cockrell. So if you don't know Lee Cockrell, look him up because he's amazing. Okay, so this week's lesson, it's one that I continue to use day in and day out, and it's a simple lesson, but one that sometimes we forget. Don't do anything half-assed. Now again, another way that a lot of people hear it is if you're going to do something, do it right. But my dad was never fond of the correct terminology. So he would always say, if you're going to do something, don't do it half-assed. If you're going to do it half-assed, then don't do it at all. And this would always stick with me because as a kid, I was kind of that kid that would always do it not to the best of my abilities. I was efficient, y'all. And another word for efficient, the way that I did it, was lazy. I would do it as soon as possible, get it done as quick as possible, and it didn't matter if it was 75% there or 100% there. I just wanted it done. Now, as I have grown, I am really glad that this was a lesson that both of my parents continued to push. Because now when I do something, when I actually commit to doing it, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it right. And I'm going to keep doing it until I get it right. And that perseverance, that ability to just keep on, keeping on, when sometimes it's really hard, has proven one of my major strengths. That endurance, that ability to see something through and keep going. That's huge. Because I don't care what anybody says, the difference between success and failure is whether you keep going or not, right? And so when you do a job, when you commit to do a job, make sure that you're doing it all of the way. Now, for my people pleasers out there, what this means for you is that you need to say no sometimes. Because what happens whenever we say yes to everything? We don't have the ability to do anything well. And so we end up suffering, and instead of people understanding that we have too much on our plate, most of the times they just get frustrated. Because let's face it, when we ask somebody to do something, we don't care about why they did or did not get it done. We care about the results. And so if you're on the side where you're going to do something just a little bit, just enough to get it done, do it harder. You know that you can do it well. And the more that you do it well, the better it gets. And if you're on the other side where you take off way more than you can chew and you say yes to everything, my friend, learn to say no. It's okay to say no. People will appreciate you saying no instead of doing something only halfway. Thank you for joining me for these past 5 weeks. I hope you have enjoyed the 5 lessons. The first one was it may not be important to you, but it's important to them. The second lesson was that your past does not define your future. The third lesson was ask, don't assume you know the answer. The fourth lesson was to apologize when you need to apologize. And the fifth lesson was don't do anything half-assed. And a special thank you to both of my parents. I wouldn't be where I am today without you. So happy Mother's Day, happy Father's Day, and happy day every other day in between. I love you both. Thank you for joining me this week. I can't wait to see you next week. And don't forget, you got this. Have a great week.